I'm going to talk about the Abrahamic covenant in Genesis chapter 12. And then on tomorrow, I'm going to talk about a passage that has been referenced in a number of the messages already. I'm going to talk about Revelation chapter 7. We're going to go from front to back. Amen? And we're going to talk about Revelation chapter 7. But first, I want us to look at Genesis chapter 12 and the Abrahamic covenant. And the reason I want us to do this is because from a theological perspective, there are a lot of us who think of missions this way. We think of missions and the Great Commission as God's plan B. Like he had another plan, and that plan didn't work out. And then when that plan didn't work out, he said, boys, we got to do something else, right? And we're all grateful, that his first plan, didn't work out, although, it's bad when a plan doesn't work out. But, Israel's loss is our gain, and, so sorry for you guys, but great for us that now we get a plan B. That's not correct. The nations are not plan B. Amen, somebody. The nations are not plan B. And the idea of the Great Commission and the gospel going to the nations is not something that is new or revolutionary in the new covenant. And there's a clue to that. The clue to that is found earlier on in Matthew chapter 23 and verse 15. Just listen to this. We're going to be looking at Genesis 12. But listen to this in Matthew 23:15. One of the many rebukes of the Pharisees. This is an interesting rebuke, though. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees. So far, so good, right? Scribes, Pharisees, whoa. Okay? Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites. Exactly. Scribes, Pharisees, hypocrites. So far, so good. Nothing revolutionary, right? That's who these guys are. For you travel across sea and land to make a single proselyte. And when he becomes a proselyte, you make him twice as much a child of hell as yourselves. Time out. Why would the Pharisees and scribes be engaging in what we would call missions? And not just in a small way. Listen to it. Listen to this whoa. You travel across sea and land to make a single proselyte. And we're not talking about in the age of Delta Airlines, right? We're not talking go over here, get on this tram, ride over to the airport, fly somewhere, talk to me. No. Crossing sea and land was an arduous task. And he says that the Pharisees would do that for a single proselyte, which means they were passionate about missions. And the fact that they're crossing sea and land means that this is not them saying, well, I'm sorry, there are other ethnic Jews out there to whom we need to proclaim this message. No. They're going to the nations. So if the Great Commission, at the end of Matthew 28, is this radical, revolutionary new idea, why is it that even the Pharisees were already engaging in the practice that we call missions before that Great Commission was given? Could it be that the idea is not radical and revolutionary in the New Covenant? Could it be that that's the heart of God and always has been? I say yes. And I believe it's clear when we look at Genesis chapter 12. Let's look at it. It's a familiar passage. Genesis chapter 12. And when we look at this, I want us to look at it in layers and levels. On the one hand, I want us to look at it from the standpoint of Abraham and what it is to which he's being called, because it looks familiar. But then on the other hand, I want us to look at the theological underpinnings here, because they are important. And then I want us to see the parallels. Now the Lord said to Abram, "Go from your country and your kindred and your father's house to the land that I will show you." That's familiar, is it not? Get up and leave. Go ye, therefore. "And I will make of you a great nation, and I will bless you and make your name great, so that you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and him who dishonors you I will curse. And in you all the families of the earth shall be blessed." What's that? That's the nations. That's the nations. God doesn't say, "I'm going to make you a nation so that I can set my love on the nation that I make in you." No. I'm going to make you a nation with a view toward that nation being a blessing to all the nations. It's missions. And it's already global. It doesn't become global later. It's global now. And as we unpack this, I want us to see a couple of things. One, I want us to understand the magnitude of this. The Lord said to Abram, "Go from your country and from your kindred and from your father's house to the land that I will show you." Go. I've already alluded to the fact that this going would have been far more significant than any going that we could possibly imagine today. It's funny, my family and I just came back. We're here on a 2-month furlough, and people have often shaken their heads. "Wow, that must just be far. That must be great. You came all this way, and with your wife and 7 of your children, and I can't imagine that long flight." And it took us a long time. It took us about 32 hours. Do you want to take a gander or a guess at how long it would have taken for Abraham to cover that distance? Would have been months.